Yeah, I would say anybody can do it. There's no limit and no one's stopping you from doing this. You don't need to have $4 million in the bank and have a net worth of 25 million to buy real estate.
Welcome to The Real Deal, a commercial real estate investing podcast. I'm your host, Aman. There's a ton going on in the world right now, and much of it impacts real estate investors. The Real Deal podcast will take a look at what's happening and how it influences you as a real estate investor. Each episode is a 20-minute segment dedicated to distilling the day's most important news, so you can stay up to date on what's going on in the world and how it might affect the commercial real estate market.
Welcome back to another episode of the Cashflow Capitalist Show. My name is Aman. Today we have another very special guest. His name is Dan Brisse. Hey Dan, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Aman. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
All right. Give us your 30-second introduction. Tell us who you are.
Yeah. So I had a snowboarding career. Midway through my career, I could see the writing on the wall that it was going to come to an end. I started reading every financial book I could get my hands on just because I was scared about what was coming. Started buying real estate midway through my career. Career ended, and now I'm a full-time multifamily real estate investor. We buy A, B, and C class apartments in Dallas and Nashville, 100 to 400 units, and a lot of it's done with just partners.
So when you were a kid, why did you only think about real estate? Why not any other route?
Yeah, great question. So as I was in my snowboarding career, making good money, a lot of the friends who I got to know who were kind of my heroes in Salt Lake, they ended up having their careers wind down. And when they did, it was really brutal. It was scary. Their careers ended and their income went away. And so when I saw the pain that they were going through, I was looking for other ways to put the money that I was making to work. That was one. And number two, I was trying to find a way to get some depreciation so I didn't have to pay the full amount of money I was making to the government and taxes. Growing up in Minnesota, I was as middle class as you could get. I worked paycheck to paycheck. My parents never gave me any money. And all of a sudden I went from making $5,000 or $10,000 a year, like $5,000 to $10,000 a year, to making, good heavy 6-figure income. And all of a sudden my tax bill was half of what I was making. And I was like, this can't be how it is. I just risked the last 10 years of my life, literally jumping buildings and, jumping off mountains, and it's dangerous. And then all of a sudden you get to that point. So it was those two reasons. I wanted multiple streams of passive income, money coming in, whether I worked or didn't work. And I wanted a little bit of tax savings from being a self-employed athlete.
Perfect. Like you also mentioned, like you were scared what's going to happen in your future. I kind of read this quote that you can use anxiety in your favor. What do you think about that?
Yeah, fear can motivate the crap out of you. It motivated me throughout my snowboarding career immensely. We would, hit these urban features in the city, sometimes a street gap, like jumping from a building to a building, or a wall ride or a rail. And the more preparation you did, the less chance you'd get hurt. And I would be the one who would always over prepare these spots. And that fear drove me to stay healthy for a long time and have a career that looked very death defying and stayed healthy. And same with real estate, like you see the writing on the wall, what's coming based off of your people in front of you. You better get after it and get busy figuring it out. Otherwise that pain is coming to you now.
And when you were starting for real estate, did you ever thought about I can start with the passive income first and maybe later realize or learn to get more active into it? Or you were just like, oh, just want to be active?
Yeah, the way it started was I had, at the time, I didn't know enough about real estate and investing to take investors' capital. So I started just with my own money. I bought a duplex, I bought a 9-plex, I bought a 24-unit deal. And those were all the first deals I owned, 100% my money. And I didn't really know what I was doing yet and thought I kind of had a good handle on it. And so after, doing a few deals and learning a lot, I ended up doing another deal with one of my best friends who I grew up with. Two guys. One guy was a general partner with me where we led the deal. And then one guy was kind of a passive investor. So us three, we bought 28 units. And that was really the first time we did like a partnership. It wasn't a syndication. We all three were general partners in the deal.
More like a JV.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly right. And so that was kind of the piece that launched Granite Towers Equity Group, which is the company we now own. Mike Roeder, who was the gentleman who bought that deal with me, was buying. He was buying a bunch of single family homes in Minnesota, and I've known him my whole life, and we're great friends. And I had a lot of fun owning that deal, and a lot of good synergy. And so we continued down that path, and we started our company, Granite Towers Equity Group, in 2017.
And what's your main role in the company? Like, are you like asset manager? Are you more investor relation? What do you do?
Yeah, for me, the main two focuses is asset management, overseeing asset management with our full-time asset manager, and equity, bringing capital into deals. Mike would be more of the guy sourcing the deal and do the acquisitions of kind of the underwriting and getting the deal set up. And then we have several other folks on our team now that help with other roles in the company.
Can you explain like what is asset management in your role? Like, how do you see that when you like you wake up in the morning? Like, I need to talk to my property manager. Like, how do you schedule everything?
Yeah, asset management is just you managing the property manager. And what that means is you, as the owner of a multifamily deal, you should have created a value add plan before you closed. We're going to bring $5 million and we're going to do X, Y, and Z. We're going to do this to the interiors. And with that money invested, now we're going to move rents to here based on the comps. And so you, as the owner, are going to direct the property manager on the plan. And that's what you're doing, is you're directing them on the plan. In the beginning, for 6 to 12 months, it's very labor intensive, a lot of site visits, a lot of interaction. Once you've spent your CapEx money and the value add play is implemented, it slows down and you might do maybe only monthly calls, where in the beginning you're probably doing weekly or twice a week just to get the plan set, and or visiting the asset once or twice a week just to monitor the work.
And what are the KPIs do you track like every day for asset management?
Yeah, you're tracking occupancy, 30-day trend, 60-day trend, the amount of rent-ready units you have versus vacant units, how many days it's taking to become rent-ready, your bad debt, your extended bad debt, 30, 60, 90 days, the delinquency. You're tracking the tours. You're tracking how many folks just reached out and asked, for information. You're tracking what kind of rent growth you're getting from a lease to lease, called a lease trade out tab. You're going to document where they were, where we're going, and why the difference was, and just you're in the nitty gritty. Your management company is doing it all, and they're kind of presenting to you. But those are the KPIs you're going to be focusing on week after week, and adjusting what you're doing in that business based off of the data you're receiving. So the data has got to be 100% accurate.
So how do you make sure that data is accurate?
Yeah, you have to check with your team. So, you hop into One Site or Fortress or whatever software your management company is using. You're going to check in, you're going to spot check the data that's on your spreadsheet, and just verify that what they're sharing with you lines up with what is in the software.
And if you have to recommend some softwares for proper asset management, like how do you set up the system? What would you like to share?
That's all done by your property manager. So if for us, we hire a third-party professional property management, and you might see Resman, Fortress, Yardi. Those are all big, software firms. And really, it's going to come down to the property management and what they use. And do you like their software that they chose?
Got it. And what are some challenges that you have faced in asset management?
Yeah, you will face challenges in asset management if you're going to be an apartment investor. COVID, it's the challenge, right? What are you going to do? How are you going to change?
And that came out of nowhere.
Yeah, right. No one planned for that. No one underwrote for that. And when it came down to it, it didn't really affect multifamily in that negative of a way. People paid their rent. People continued to do what, they
not in California.
Oh, really? Yeah. Well, I guess I can't speak. I'm speaking in Dallas and Nashville. So I'm looking at our assets and portfolio there. Yeah, that's unfortunate to hear. Other challenges you're going to have is just the market ebbing and flowing. You're going to have occupancy and demand go up and down based on the asset class and the submarket. So you're going to have to change, what you're looking to get for rent, maybe up or down, depending on your demand. You're going to have challenges with CapEx, getting work done, getting vendors lined up. Ideally, if you're a big enough company, do enough CapEx, you've got some vendors who put you to the front of the line. So when you ask for help, they're like, we're here. We just keep coming to us. That's helpful once you get to that place. Bad debt, you're going to have challenges with evictions. You're going to have to evict folks who aren't paying, right? I mean, you got to pay to stay. So you're going to have challenges with your property management company and your team having good synergy. Maybe there's some emails or comments that, have lost respect for each other. That can happen, so there's a plethora of things that can go wrong with asset management. It's the most critical thing that will dictate the performance of your deal is your ability to execute your business plan and keeping synergy between the parties.
And how do you make sure that you keep the business plan working properly? And how do you not deflect from that?
Yeah, well, there's a few parts. You're going to have to build your business plan. When I say build your business plan, what are your value add plays? So let's just say you're going to put in a new soccer field. You're going to paint the buildings, exterior buildings. You're going to put on new siding. You're going to do an interior upgrade, brand new, cabinets, appliances, flooring, light fixtures. You have a budget you created before you closed. During due diligence, you had your entire contracting team come in the entire property, exterior and interior, and give you numbers of what you're going to spend per upgrade on the interiors and per exterior upgrade. And your job is to figure out the order of most importance to execute those plans one at a time, or five at a time, whatever your team can handle. You're executing them in the order of most importance, and you're trying to get that job done as fast as you can for the best price, making sure the quality of work is maintained. And at that point, you're now moving rents to what you figured out when you're analyzing. So this whole picture, you got to bring this picture to reality. And that's the part where you're making sure by watching KPIs on the weekly call and comparing your CapEx projects and costs to the results. It's a huge picture. You got to keep on track.
So since you mentioned that you have to have the reality, kind of like reality in your mind before you implement it, sometimes we cannot communicate the same reality into the words. How do you make sure you have a better communication with your team?
Yeah. So let's just take an example specifically of an easy one, exterior paint. You have a budget. What did the budget come in at for your vendors, multiple vendors during due diligence? Let's just say you got one for $300,000 and one for $350,000. You're trying to figure out which vendor you're going to use based off of their reputation and how much you know about them. Are they in budget? Where are they related to? And then how is the work done? I mean, that's in what color? And you're the one choosing all this stuff, right? You're the one dictating and telling them, we want to have these 3 different whites, paint half the building and send us pictures, or let us show up and see it all. And then boom, you implement. So then you let that team go and they go and paint the building. Next project, you're working on interiors. You're going to pick out what you want for, let's just say, new cabinet, new flooring, new light fixtures. And you're going to decide that, and you're going to tell them, here's what I'm looking for these units. Or if you don't want to do that much, maybe you say, hey, you give us, what's your typical upgrade look like? This could be figured out again before you close. And then it's just a process of communicating with them and agreeing, making clear agreements on what those upgrades look like, and then executing as agreed.
Got it. So, and if you have to mention some sort of tools that you use for effective asset management, what would you recommend?
Well, number one, you're going to want to have a spreadsheet that tracks all this information. And the spreadsheet we use, it's a Granite Towers spreadsheet. It's not something that's for sale. It's something that we've created over the last 7 years of asset managing deals week after week. And it has several tabs that we use to manage the data. A pulse tab, keeping your finger on the pulse, your lease trade out tab. You're going to have questions, weekly questions. You're going to have an income tab that shows the speed of income. So that's the biggest one for us is what are you using to track the work week by week?
And are you using any kind of CRM to track every kind of performance by your team? Or how do you track that they are working fine? Because you might not be at the property every day, but how do you track them?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to know if your on-site team is doing a good job based off of the key performance indicators you're watching week after week. So you're going to be able to see how's your occupancy trending. How many vacant units do you have that are not rent ready? And how long has it been since we've had more rent ready? And week after week, if you see you've had 15 vacant units and 10 are not rent ready, and you see that week after week after week, you're not getting units rent ready. You're not getting, or let's just say you got 15 vacant units and 2 are rent ready, and it's always 2, 2, 2, and then they lease those 2 out and it's 0. You gotta dig in with the team and say, you guys aren't getting units rent ready. What are we doing? What's the process? Do we need to let the people go that we were using, or what do we got to do to make a change there? And you're gonna get a good feel within 3-4 weeks if the people you have on site are executing based on your KPIs that you're tracking week after week.
Got it. Got it. And how often do you call your property management?
Well, I'm not calling them. We just set up weekly calls. And every week at the same day, same time on Zoom, we hop on with them to review the last week and talk about the next week.
Got it.
Or there's an email exchange going on from our lead asset manager, and we're just tagging along, watching the emails as changes are happening throughout the week.
Got it. And since you have been doing the asset management for the last 7 years, how your approach has changed towards it? Do you like it? You don't like it? Or you find it more like, are you like more operational guy? What's your approach to it?
I love it as long as you bought right and your business plan is what that resident profile in that submarket desperately wants. So if you can take an asset, which they're out there where they've neglected the deal and deferred maintenance is piled up, and you can come in and fix that and supply a greater product at a fair market price based on the comps, and you can change the value of that asset dramatically. It's a fun game. It's fun to watch the process. It's very rewarding to see the resident profile be excited about the value adds that you're completing. It's excited to see the property management team get excited about the new building they're managing. It's exciting to share the investors' updates. All your investors are excited because they're all making money. So as long as you've done a good job, it's fun. If you didn't do a good job, it's absolutely miserable.
And if you talk about the motivation, like when you say good job, how do you keep yourself motivated? Like you have to wake up in the morning and do the work. Sometimes like people get, you know, distracted from it. And how do you make yourself that your employees are working, they are motivated? And how do you make yourself that you are motivated to do the work?
Well, for me, motivation, I mean, you've got all these investors who trusted you with their capital. So if you can't put your investors before you, don't raise money. If you can't think that you are working for your investors, don't start, because that's the reality. You can't just give up. That's not an option. You can't ever quit. That's not going to work. So that you have tendencies for that, you're going to want to partner with people who will never quit. If you're going to just give up and walk away from the deal, I can tell you right now, you're going to do one deal and you'll be done. And everyone's going to have stuff to say about you on the internet. So, being motivated to get the job done, there's no lack of motivation in this industry for folks that have been doing it a while. To keep the team motivated, I think it's, you're hiring folks. Do they actually fill the needs of the role? And can you compensate them fairly? And do they believe and buy into the culture and direction of the company? And if the culture and values are similar and you have motivated, educated individuals with experience, there's no problem keeping people motivated. They execute right on time.
Got it. And some companies, they give the employees like more bonuses. They compensate like really, really good. How do you make sure that your employees they like the job, they like to come to the job? Like just don't make it so monotonous. How do you make sure that they would love to come to work and do the job?
Well, number one, with the team that's on site, our third-party management company is hiring our on-site folks. We may interview the regional or the lead on-site with them, but that's really on them to bring somebody in, and it's their job to keep their team. That we pay the employees from the company, from the business, the real estate, but it's their job to keep them focused and motivated and in the right position if they're not letting them go. For our team here at Granite Towers, I mean, you don't need a lot of people. You need the right people. And we work so closely with our team, we can tell very quickly if somebody is motivated and wants to be here, or if they're just completely confused in array. And most folks that get on our team are really grateful to be on the team. I think they see the opportunity and see where there's no limits here. I mean, the more real estate you buy, the bigger your team grows. What position you want, you can grow into that position as long as you have the skill, right? As long as you actually are capable. The hiring process is the most complex process. We're actually in the process right now of trying to hire a marketer, somebody who can help us push what we do to the public more, and help us with more of these podcasts, and help us with presenting us to the public in a positive way. And that's a process we're going through right now, and we're going to be working with a couple coaches to strategically attract those right folks to us.
And you're doing every day trying to improve the system better and better.
Yeah, every day. You got the CANI, CANI, constant, never-ending improvement. That is this business. There's some basics of this business. There's 5 real basics that I try to hit on every deal. And if you hit these 5 basics, you have a very, very good chance of doing better than what you're projecting to your investors. And those 5, if you have interest in them for your listeners, is number 1 is you're going to want to put together a great general partner team. And that consists of knowledge, experience, synergy, net worth, liquidity, focus, all that. You got to have the right relationships with those people, because those people are like the riders in the horse, right? You're the one dictating the direction of the deal. The second one is location, and location can be complicated. You could have a great location in LA. I'm sure there's a lot of people who make money in LA. We just don't buy there. Yeah, we don't buy in LA. We're looking for specific locations in Dallas and in Nashville, and that can be higher than average job growth, population growth, higher than average cap rates. You got a spread between what it costs to rent versus buy. You've got massive pent up demand in occupancy. So the location, picking your location is number 2. Number 3 is getting the right debt. There's a lot of pain in the market that's coming to the market right now because of short-term variable rate bridge debt. And if you know the market and you have a business plan, maybe that works. We're of the opinion of having fixed debt at low leverage, and thinking of real estate investing more as you're in it for a while, and you actually control the asset. Whereas right now you've got a lot of owners that are hoping, and hoping isn't something that I want to be a part of. I don't want to hope that I can have the Fed do what I want them to do. I want to be able to control the deal and exit when we're ready. So getting your debt right is critical. Another one is CapEx. The next pillar, number 4, is your CapEx. And that means the value add plan you're going to install. Going back to a property you're buying, you're going to put in new soccer fields, windows, you're going to paint new siding. Does that CapEx plan make you the best in that submarket? Are you the one that stands out? And then the last one is asset management and property management, and your ability to asset manage the property management company, and for the property management to execute on site. That's the ingredient for a great deal. When I look at our portfolio of 20 deals that we own, and I look at the deals that have done the best, and I look at the deals that have done decent, and I look at the deals that have struggled, those are the 5 things we've hit, and those deals excel.
Got it. And if I ask you, from your whole experience, what are the mistakes that you have done, and how did you address them?
Yeah, mistakes for us is, number 1, not getting educated earlier from somebody who had a lot of experience. That's step 1. Don't go try to do the business just running into real estate. Do not make that mistake. And if you do, you'll regret it later, just like I did. Number 2, I would say really knowing your location. Why is your location going to take your asset value to a whole different level? And if you cannot answer that very clearly, you don't know your locations well enough, don't buy. Do your research. Everyone gets so excited when they get in the business. I got to buy a deal. No, you don't. You got to learn about why a deal is a great deal and perfect your criteria at a deeper level. And if you don't have that clear, get around other people who do and learn from them, or partner with those folks on a deal and learn from them. A really great way for people to get into real estate is find a general partnership team that you know, like, and trust, that has a great track record, and then go add value to them. Like, what do you need? What can I help you with? And you may not be able to help them, but you might. And if there's an opportunity there, even if you work for free, we got one of our general partners, she's a gal who came to us and said, I don't care about any money. I just want to be on your team. This is 4 years ago. Now she's a very successful real estate investor. We don't do much together anymore. She runs her own deals. She came in didn't get paid, didn't care about getting paid, just wanted to help the deal, believed in the deal, came along with asset management, came along with some capital raising, was someone we knew prior to having the deal. So it's totally 506B compliant. And she did a great job, and she's doing a great job. So easy way to get in is to add value to a general partnership group that you know, like, and trust, and just be a workhorse and add value straight up.
Nice. And so what are the current projects that you're working right now?
Yeah, we're working on a deal in Dallas, 310 unit deal. It's a typical play like we do. We're in the process of putting that thing together and closing before year end. We're in the process of finishing a CapEx plan on a deal we closed on about a month ago, 35 days ago. We're in the process of just asset managing and continuing and improving our asset management abilities. Yeah, those are the main pieces.
And before we wrap this up, I have like two more questions. First is like, what advice do you want to give to somebody else who's starting new in real estate?
Yeah, I would say anybody can do it. There's no limit and no one's stopping you from doing this. You don't need to have $4 million in the bank and have a net worth of $25 million to buy real estate. You need to have some value or be able to speak and add value to somebody who has that track record. And I can tell you right now, if you have value of asset management, property management, raising equity, finding deals, if you can bring value to someone with experience, you're going to get into a nice sized deal pretty quickly. I would go back to it again, go back to education, get educated, find a personal mentor if you need to, somebody who will actually look and hold your hand. Going to these seminars, these weekly seminar or weekend seminars are pretty good. It's good content, but it's going to be very difficult for you to leave that seminar and go start a business and go start buying multifamily. So I'd say biggest thing is just your education, and then don't try to look too far ahead and figure out everything before you get started. You're going to figure it out as you go, a lot of it.
Yeah. Just figure out the next steps. Just don't figure out how to climb the mountain.
That's it. You nailed it.
And imagine today is your last day on this planet. What message do you want to give to the world?
Last day on the planet. What message do I want to give to the world?
Yes.
I would say live your life chasing your passion, because every day of your life, then you're having fun, and make sure that you realize, I would think, and I'm hoping I'm getting clearer on this, is that how limited your time really is. and make sure that the folks that are in your life, you say what needs to be said and spend the time with the ones that matter, and hopefully leave with no regret.
And stop chasing butterflies.
Sure.
And if somebody wants to reach out to you, where can they reach out to you?
Yeah, you can just go to our website. It's granitetowersequitygroup.com.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, just like it sounds, granitetowersequitygroup.com, and contact us. And just say, hey, I heard Dan on this podcast and would like to connect, and we can hop on a call.
Perfect. All right, Dan, and thank you so much for your time, for your knowledge, and I'll see you another one.
Thank you, Aman.
All right.
Thank you for joining us on The Real Deal, a commercial real estate investing podcast, the show that covers everything to do with multifamily real estate investing to help you become an expert in your real estate ventures. We're here to help you create passive income and financial freedom so that you can achieve what you want whenever you want. We'll catch you next time on The Real Deal.